If it's Dennis, lean, Dennis. If it's Dennis, Dennis, blah, blah, blah. Up, Dennis, Dennis, Dennis. If it's dee, boom, boom, boom. Huh. Hey, babe. How y'all doing? Jamithatsme here. Welcome back to my channel. Now, let's go ahead and get into a quick chat. We're going to start today's episode off with Notorious Queens. Notorious Queens is a new reality show that has come to a streaming service called All Be Okay. It's featuring 4 ladies, 2 that we may know and 2 that we may not know. At least for me, I did not know 2 of the ladies. I was familiar with Megan J, who came from Bad Girls Club and then went on to do Basketball Wives. I was also familiar with LaBrittany, who is an artist, and she was also on Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. The 2 ladies that I was not familiar with actually happened to be connected to, I believe it's Big Meech of BMF, as well as the other lady being connected to Suge Knight. Both of the ladies have children by the men, and one of them definitely served time on behalf of BMF, which happens to be Tony. The first episode pretty much was about the ladies getting to know each other, meeting each other for the very first time. Not a whole lot happened. It seemed to be that it may be somewhat of a cute series. However, I feel like they don't have enough cast members. I don't know if it was because it was filmed during the time of COVID, but not a lot seems to be going on there. I don't think that I'm going to actually review the show, but as things may show up in the show that I feel are worth talking about, I will bring those to you guys, such as the situation with Megan J mentioning that she is going to find the perfect man because she's going to allow him to cheat in peace. So such a subject like that, if something comes up that I feel the need to discuss regarding the show, I'll bring it to you guys. But other than that, I'm not really sure if I'm going to be doing a review episode by episode. Now, it seems like we're going to be able to learn more about Tonessa. I do believe that's her name. That is the woman that was connected to, I do believe, Big Meech. And she's had children by him. She ended up being arrested behind a lot of the drugs and things that were going on. So she really has a strained relationship with some of her kids. Some she does, some she doesn't. So it seems like we may learn more about her life, because I was kind of wondering, who is this woman? Why is she on the show? What deems her to be notorious? Now I see what deems her to be notorious. Her being on this show is somewhat of a fit based on her background, her having to serve time, and us learning about how she's getting her life back and how she's navigating with her family in this new world of hers. Next up, we get the opportunity to meet Stormy. Stormy is the woman that has children with Suge Knight. We also learned that one of her sons actually plays on a reality show called Love and Listings. I cannot think of his name at the moment, but that is the child that the 2 share together. We know that Suge Knight has been locked up for some time now for some things that has happened with him. We learned that she had to relocate herself as well as her children because of the incidents that Suge Knight partook in. People were beginning to send her death threats and things. So she was like, I got to get out of Dodge, and this right here is not going to be safe for myself nor my children. We also learned that at a very, very young age, her mother was actually sentenced to prison. She went to prison because she was trying to pay someone to kill her husband. So they locked her up for life, but I do believe she served maybe 13 or 18 years, somewhere in the teens. She served a few years and now she's out. So we're going to be able to see how Stormy navigates this life as well, with her and her mom, as well as, you know, Suge Knight's children and all of that. So I feel like that makes sense for her to be notorious, a notorious queen. I feel like that makes sense why she's on the show. As far as Megan and LaBrittany, it's a bit sketchy for me. I do believe Megan got on the show because of her popularity. As you can see, she's like the first person in the front of the photos. So that's why they likely went ahead and booked her for this show. LaBrittany, I guess I could see LaBrittany because she's trying to navigate throughout this world. She looks beautiful. She's a mother of 2. She's also a singer, artist, writer, dancer, all of that. So she's just really trying to, you know, continue to pound her feet, pound the sand until she's able to make it where she wants to make it in the industry. But as far as those 2 ladies being notorious, not so much. Maybe Megan is notorious based on her history with Bad Girls Club. So now we're going to be able to see her trying to change her life in a sense, I guess. But like I said, Stormy and Tony make a lot of sense for being notorious queens. The other 2 ladies don't. But you guys check out the show. You get the streaming app. Check out the show. Let me know your thoughts. But like I said, I don't know if I'm going to be doing a episode by episode review, but should topics pop up that I feel are worth talking about, that's what I'll do. So let's move on. Let's speak on OG. OG got the opportunity to release yet more audio of a conversation she had with Jennifer Williams as well as Jackie Christie, okay? And they pretty much were just talking about the same old thing that we keep talking about. the colorism. They feel as though OG is not backing down. She's not trying to compromise or anything like that. And just feeling as though she's being difficult and just not wanting to have the conversation, saying she wants to talk, but not being open to talk. But I think what they were like a misunderstanding. In my opinion, I feel like OG is open to talk, but I feel that she's more open to talk to Shaunie than Shaunie's minions. Shaunie sent quite a few minions over there to have a conversation with OG, when in my personal opinion, that's not how it should have went. Shaunie should have gone to OG on her own instead of scouting the situation, sending someone else out there to scout the situation for her and giving her feedback, when honestly, she was waiting on the negatives so that she can tap out and do exactly what she did at the end of the season. Now, should she have wanted to truly have a conversation with OG, she would have made that happen. Shaunie is a woman that makes things happen. She has this show. This show has been long running on VH1. She's made things happen. She got her weed dispensary. She knows how to go out and make things happen if that's something that she indeed wants to do. So to sit back and use the other women's opinions about how they assess the sit down with OG as an excuse for you to tap out is complete, utter BS to me. And that just proves that she never wanted to have the conversation with OG to begin with, because if she sits down and she apologizes for any of her actions, then that means that she could totally be in agreement with the fact that she was operating in a manner of colorism, and she doesn't want to do that. In addition, you know, Evelyn still has this whole lawsuit on the table, which completely should be thrown out. I don't even know what we're stalling about, but also I think that she doesn't want to agree to that because it could possibly hurt her friend's case. And you already heard what Evelyn said when she was walking out the door. She said, we are best friends, we're sisters, whatever, you know, we ride for each other. So if Shaunie's out, I'm out. And I'm sure that's the same thing for Shaunie, as Shaunie has kept the problematic Evelyn on the show all of this time. I used to absolutely love Evelyn. It was nothing that you could tell me about her that was absolutely wrong until last season. That's when I switched up on Evelyn. Last season, her actions just did not align. Her actions and the work that she was giving to other castmates, it was trash. And when somebody met her where she was, because she felt that she could punk everybody else, when somebody met her where she was at and she realized she couldn't punk them, then she wanted to cry victim, and that was a problem for me. But you know, this conversation has been rehashed, and obviously it's not going anywhere. My advice to OG would be to kind of move on without this show, because you don't necessarily need them at all. You know, don't continue to put yourself through that headache. But I do feel that she was indeed worthy of a conversation when it came down to colorism. Shaunie was able to create an entire special regarding colorism and even be paid for that set, I'm sure, but would not allow herself to have a sit down with OG in the same fashion. I found that to be very interesting. But as I've already said, if you've heard me, we know the reason why Shaunie would not have that sit down, and that's, you know, that's on them. They'll figure out the best way for the two to move forward. It doesn't look like they're going to continue. They're going to agree on terms. So unfortunately, it seems to be one of those it is what it is situation. I will say that in that audio, once again, the audio was complete trash. You know, Jennifer rolled OG's back the entire time for her not being open and wanting to compromise, when, Jen, that's one of the very things when you came on this trip that you said that you were not open to engage or do any of that. And nobody flexed or fronted you or begged you or even came over to talk to you to convince you to come over and talk to the other ladies. But we see you here riding the back of OG, complaining to OG about her not wanting to change when you've been getting into it with Jackie regarding your own stances on things. Are you serious? You make absolutely no sense. And OG was really hurt at the fact that Jen switched on her and flipped on her, but I'm kind of like, OG, are we surprised? You've always stood up for her for the most part, whether we saw it or not, as it pertains to how the other ladies treated her, and then here it is, she's flip-flopping. Why are you surprised when that's been the basis of her presence as she's been on this show all these years? She's been very wishy-washy, so I think that you should just watch it and let it be what it's gonna be. Those are my thoughts on Basketball Wives. I'm gonna go ahead and move forward to some other things. I got the opportunity to listen to Candy speak on it with Don Juan and Carmen. They didn't really give me anything new except for maybe one thing. I think a lot of what they said about Porsha, no, it ain't no no goddamn bird, honey. Girl, she out here on my patio deck. She better go about her business, but we're gonna move on. Sorry about that. So I got the opportunity, as I said, to listen to Candy speak on it with Don Juan and Carmen. I said they did not give me a whole lot of information that I did not already know. I agreed with them on majority of the things that they had to say about Porsha, as well as Shamia, amongst some of the other ladies. You know, I understood their standpoint on that. One thing that we did learn, or that I learned, was that Porsha was not the reason that Shamia was able to get onto the show. Candy was indeed the reason that Shamia got onto the show. So they found it to be very interesting that Shamia would show so much loyalty and just hang on for her good friend Porsha, but Porsha wouldn't even extend her hand to help her get her on the show. And that's okay, right? That's okay, because in time, I guarantee you, Shamia will at some point. Sometimes it takes people a very long time for them to see their friend for who they are, because they have a particular image of them in their head and who they believe they want them to be to them, and that's not always the case. So whatever image it is that Shamia has, over time, she gonna see it. And we've seen it on the outside, how Porsha has played Shamia time and time again. We have witnessed it. Shamia may not, and that's okay, right? Because in due time, she will see. Give her enough time, and she definitely gonna see it. And we don't wanna see you crying. We don't wanna hear no BS or anything like that. So girl, yeah, but either way, all I have for that is good luck. Now let's move on to LaToya Ali and Adam Ali. Yes, LaToya forever of Real Housewives of Atlanta. You guys know these two have been battling it out, obviously in court as well as on social media. You know, they have been going at it. Obviously, Adam Ali got the opportunity to sit down with Tasha K. They've had conversations about him, his life, his dynamic relationship as pertains to LaToya and everything. And from my understanding, I have not watched the clip. I'm not interested in really watching the clip. I thought I was, but after watching her video and Adam's live, it was too much for me. So this was good enough for me. Just taking on what everyone else was letting me know. Everyone said that during the interview with Tasha K, he never disrespected her. He didn't say anything bad about her. He played everything smart. So we'll leave it at that. Obviously, LaToya did not like the things that he had to say. So she decided to take to her social media, at least her YouTube, to let people know why she got the divorce, or at least why she's getting the divorce, whichever one. She goes on to kind of put a few things out there. She said that she was assaulted by him. She also mentioned that she was RAPE by him. I do not know what to say. I can't say that she's lying. I can't say that she's not necessarily lying. I know there were times in the video where I listened and I felt like this is bogus. I honestly did not believe everything that she was saying. I felt like, yeah, some of this doesn't even make sense. You're trying to make him seem like such a bad person, a guilty person, because he cheated on you, but you also cheated on him. You moved down to Atlanta, according to him, because I listened to his live, and you took off. You left shortly after that just to go on a cruise. So it seems like you went on a cruise with another man. And she admitted to some things that he also mentioned in his live. So I just feel like I can't say that he did not physically abuse her, because he definitely admitted to pulling her off the bed or whatever, but he did not choke her up. But some would deem that as still some type of physical action taken towards the other person, because you dragged her off the bed. So that definitely seems to have happened. However, with the RAPE situation, I'm not really sure. She said that, you know, she was really drunk. He knows when she gets drunk like that. She feels as though her husband took advantage of her during the time of her being drunk, and he was so eager for her to take a pregnancy test. She took it, found out, and you know, she felt like she was trapped. He was happy. She felt like he was trapped and things. I do not know. I was not there. That's yet to be determined. But I will say that in Adam's video, he kept talking about times where he's tried to see whether or not he can make the relationship work. So I don't know. He could have done that to trap her in the situation, to try and make the relationship continue to work. I'm not necessarily sure. We'll just have to see how things play out. But I think he had every right to go in and to defend himself and go back at her with another live. I do feel like they're both clowns in a sense. I feel like they both love to say how much they love their children, care about their children and things, but nobody's taking the children into consideration as they're battling it out publicly. Nobody is thinking about those kids at all. They're only thinking about, you know, revenge and making the other person look bad. And you know, the short answer for me is I think that they both acted irresponsibly throughout their marriage the entire time. Nobody is right in this situation. at all. The only question at hand is whether or not he indeed RAPE his wife. You know, she went on to say that one of the children he didn't want, he wanted her to abort them. I didn't really, in my opinion, I didn't really care to hear that part of her story, because you continue to have children with him. You continue to be in that relationship with him. Now, some women are completely abused and they are stuck in their situations. I'm not necessarily sure, but for Toya and him, and a lot of their life was on display via YouTube, I just kind of feel like, yeah, but you continue to stay in that. You continue to be in that with him. You continue to love on him with that. You continue to take on whatever incentives that came your way as you were in that situation. Now you're out and you're trying to make him look like a bad guy. Another short answer for me is making me wonder whether or not Toya is coming with this drama to try and secure another season on Real Housewives of Atlanta and like to get a larger paycheck, because he did say that she was doing all of this craziness only to be making $1,000 an episode, you know. Yikes. I kind of beg to differ a little bit. I do, like, that is shocking if that's indeed what he says, but I kind of wonder, is it 1,000 or could it be 5,000? Could it be 2,000? Now, granted, it's still very low compared to what the other ladies are getting paid. Or did you miss a zero? Could it have been 10,000, but you read it as 1,000? I'm not really sure. Some part of me wants to believe that as stupid and dumb as Toya acts, we want to believe that Toya is smart enough to not accept that. But sometimes people will accept less when it comes with a larger audience. So who knows, you know? But like I said, you know, they both acted irresponsibly in their marriage. I don't know who to believe, what to believe at all. And the story is continuing to develop. And hopefully at some point they think about their children, consider their children as they're battling this out, and they move forward. But that's all I got on LaToya Ali as well as Adam Ali. We can move on. I got the opportunity to catch a glimpse of the interview that Marlo did with the Jasmine brand. She was asked about the situation with Porsha and why she wanted to know so much about what was going on with Porsha and the stripper Bolo. Marlo goes on to say something like, I'm just saying, like, if you just tell me the truth, if you just tell me what it is, you know, then I can protect you. If I'm your friend, then you should be able to just keep it honest with me, tell me the truth, and then I'll be able to, you know, protect you, you know, moving forward and this, that, and the other. And what I got from that interview was BS. Sometimes I will say this. I do think that friends want to know too much of your business. And I've been wrecking my brain for the past few days trying to understand, what do y'all be wanting to know? You know, and sometimes it be about, you know, your relationship. Like, what do you want friends to share? What is it do you want them to tell you? If your relationship is not going as great and you confide in your friend and your friend is not confiding in you about their relationship, could it be that they ain't got no drama in their relationship, so it's nothing to share? I don't understand that. Like, what would you want to know when it comes to who your friend has been having sex with and when they had sex with them, whether it was a one-night stand? What is it that you really want to know? In addition, Marlo and Porsha never even really seemed to be that fully close for Porsha to tell her that. Shamia may know and may not know, and she out here just riding for whatever. Like, just drop it. Just leave it alone. Just drop it. Like, no, you can't know this. You can't. Like, no. So why can't you just be that type of friend then, Marlo, as Shamia is being? Now, granted, I do believe that Porsha did do something. That's just my personal opinion. I do believe that something went down behind those closed doors, and a lot that contributes to that is the actions that Porsha takes when people accuse her, instead of simply, you know, saying no and deading it. I absolutely did not partake in that. I do not like that you're going around saying this about me. She proceeds to call people out of their names and get loud and do all these extra antics, which makes me believe, indeed, yes, you did do something. In addition to but in addition to Tanya completely leaving the show. So those little antics definitely make me believe that she indeed do it. Marlo, you also said that you heard noises and things. You know, so if you heard noises, why are you coming back and then acting as though you're unsure and wants her to tell you the truth? No, that sounds like BS. She doesn't really have to tell you that. But I would love for you guys to just chime down below and let me, what is it that people want from their friends and their business? I be feeling like, for me, I don't be caring that much. I've encouraged tons of friends to not tell me their business as it pertains to their relationship or whatever, because it's like, if you got to work that out with your mate. You can talk to me all day, but I don't have to be in that relationship with you. They do. But if it gets to a point where you feel like you cannot talk to them, then I'm here for you. In Porsha's case, as far as sex, I feel like you really don't have to tell your friends about who you, unless you choose to, and that's your type of relationship that you and your friend have together. Again, I never saw Marlo and Porsha being that type of close-knit friends for her to share that. But we've seen Porsha on the show, bringing different men on the show and letting everybody know who she smashed. So why now all of a sudden it's the issue for you to let us know that you smashed Bolo? So I kind of see it, twofold or whatever, but I would love to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions down below. And again, let me know what it is you guys are seeking and what you would want from your friends as it pertains to your friends' personal business. Let me know down in the comments below and we'll move on. Let's go ahead and get into Love and Marriage Huntsville now. So we got the opportunity to see a few things behind the scenes. I'm not going to go into every detail, but just a few things that stuck out to me. One thing is that Mel and Martell came to Carlos because they wanted to do a home improvement show. But y'all know that's not something that Carlos does. Carlos does not do anything like that. He's about the drama. He's about entertaining reality TV. If you want to do something like that, honey, go to HGTV, because that's not what we're doing over here. So he tells her, well, that's not really my direction, but let me ask you this. Do you have other friends? Maybe we can change it up and we can go in this direction. So that's when they introduced Tisha, Marceau, Maurice, and Kimmy to Carlos. And from that moment, they decided to create a pilot. They were like a week out from creating this pilot when Melody found out that Martell is still up to the same antics. He's out here cheating on her. She goes to Carlos. She's like, listen, I don't even want to do the show. This man still out here cheating on me. He's full of SHI and I'm done with it. Carlos said, well, wait a minute, slow your horses, honey, because Miss Oprah done already gave us the green light. Okay? Yes, ma'am. So we gonna have to rethink this. Let us go ahead and pray about it to God. I want you to go ahead and be an authentic person. Come back out here. Let's do this pilot and let's move forward. That is indeed what Melody does. What she also does while they're filming the pilot is bring up the cheating situation to Martell in front of everybody. And once Oprah got the opportunity to see the pilot, she said, this is a go, let's get it done. And so here they are, Love and Marriage Huntsville. What I also wanted to point out, which is so small because I still love her. Y'all know Kimmy is like my favorite person on Love and Marriage Huntsville. She's a very pretty person and she's a very direct, clear, and concise person. For the most part, I feel like you know exactly what you're getting with Kimmy. It's not a wishy-washy flip-flopper. It's none of that. You know exactly what you're getting when it comes to Kimmy. But I will say this, how Kimmy looks now, everybody looks different after they get, some more coins and some extra coins and stuff. But it definitely looked like Kimmy may have had a nose job at some point. She still looks great, but I just noticed the difference in her face from then versus now. Still a beautiful woman, that's my girl, but I just had to highlight that because I noticed that difference. We also got the opportunity to see some behind the scenes between Martell and Marceau. Martell was really upset with Marceau for making fun of him and his cheating situation. And the reason for that is because Martell is like, boy, you was right there with me when I was doing everything that I was doing, so don't sit up here and act like you ain't had no women yourself. But he exaggerated the number of 20 women. So yeah, we know that's the main thing, right? We know Marceau has probably done some things, but the 20 women is what exaggerated this. So whenever they would dispute the cheating allegations, they would always dispute it as far as the number, but not so much as the cheating as a whole. So I do believe that, Marceau probably did something like that, just like when I was watching Ready to Love and the lady said she was in a situation for about 8 years plus or something like that, or maybe 13 or whatever, and the guy wanted to be the breadwinner. She was like the stay-at-home mom, but the whole time he was doing that, he was cheating. And those are the exact vibes I get from Marceau. So Martell and Marceau were having, disagreements about Martell's cheating, but Martell also goes on to say it's not just that. It's the fact that Scott, as I told y'all before, the Holt and Scott is from them putting their businesses together. You have the Scott and you have the Holt, and they brought it together to make Scott. And this was a time when Marceau really needed help. He was down on his luck. He needed the money, and Martell was already doing successful in his business, so he decided to help him. The reason why I wholeheartedly believe this, although Marceau stood right in Martell's face and lied, I do believe that too, is because look at how Martell and Melody even put them on with this show. They have tons of friends. Why did they choose them in particular? I think that Martell saw the opportunity because they were down and out. Let me look out for my boy. The same thing he did later on. Like, yeah, all he really needed to do was give Marlo an apology about the 20 women's. But still looking out for his friend, he wanted to bring him in on the entire deal of Holt Manor or whatever that was supposed to be. So I feel like Martell has always been that person trying to look out for Marlo. That's why it hurt so bad that his friend Marlo would go on to social media or wherever he would go and kind of make fun of the whole cheating situation. Not only because you've been my friend and all I've ever done for you was try to look out for you, but in addition, you know I know some about you too, so you might want to be careful. So that's the energy that I got from the argument, and they really were about to square up. They had to send production in to kind of stop everything from happening, but Martell was really at that point ready to let all his anger out on Marlo, not just because of the past that he was mad at him, but I also believe because Marlo was sitting right there in his face lying to him and to the cameras. Now we also get the opportunity to see Tisha being invited to Mel's event, and it was not known to Melody. Melody did not know production invited her, but she came. Tisha also did not know that production never told Melody to get security to escort her out. But it happened. Production had absolutely nothing to do with that. You know, I did feel bad for Tisha in that moment when I saw those tears falling down her eyes. Like, how embarrassing. But girl, you should have known better. You know, Mel don't F with you. I know you would have wanted to show up, but I think you should have sent a token of love gift or something like that, a olive branch or something by way of Kimmy, instead of showing up to her event so then you got escorted out. But I bet moving forward you're gonna know better now, aren't you? Now we also saw that when Mel and Tisha sat down, Mel told her, girl, you probably want to roll up on your man at the bar one good night just to check on him to see what he's doing. Well, later on we see that Tisha did indeed follow up and did exactly what Mel said. And Marlo did not like that at all. So when the film crew got there to film them, you know, Marlo was really upset with Tisha for the fact that she did do that. Tisha said when she pulled up, what she saw was him being on his laptop working, minding his business. And he did not like that at all. So that put a strain on their marriage. But of course, Tisha want to go on and say that, you know, Mel tried to destroy the marriage. Well, at the end of the day, a person can tell you something all day long, and it's up to you to choose to believe them or how you want to move with that. Now, granted, this is exactly what you're doing now. Okay, people are telling you that your man has cheated on you, he has stepped out on you, he has done this, he has done that. Your own mother has even insinuated that. She feels as though she knows some of the ways that he moves wicked and has indeed cheated on you, but yet you still choose to believe what you're going to believe and operate in the fashion that you want to operate in order to maintain your marriage and to keep your family together. So that's on you. You know, you can hear what you want to hear all day long, but it's up to you on how you move. So that's what you've been showing us, and that's what it's going to be. So should this change up and flip up, I don't know how many people are going to have sympathy for you because they've tried to go ahead and tell you this a long time ago. But either way, honey, good luck. We also got to see the breakdown of the friendship between Kimmy and Tisha. You know, back at the reunion, the conversation came up with Mel about the post-queen comment. Mel brought it up saying that y'all like to be in y'all messages saying that I'm the post-queen. Tisha, of course, was going to deny this until Kimmy went against her and agreed with Mel and said, yes, this is indeed true. Yes, 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 yes. We have called her the post-queen. Absolutely, this thing indeed happened. We also go on to learn about Kiowa. You know, Kimmy has brought up the loyalty thing and Tisha has brought up the loyalty thing as well. Now, Kiowa came on the show. You know that Kiowa and Kimmy have had differences based on Maurice. Maurice not communicating effectively as he needs to Kiowa or to Kimmy. Right? So knowing that they have differences, we later on see that Tisha indeed had a sit down with Kiowa, which I thought was extremely shady. You don't know this lady from Sam, from Eve, from Adam. You don't know anything about this lady, honestly, aside from what's being told to you. So then you go and you have a sit down with this lady, invite this lady in your home to have a conversation about your good friend Kimmy. And when she speaks down on Kimmy, you go on and say, yes, that's breaking girl code. I understand. I'm with you on this and da 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 da. That's not friendly at all. You did not show loyalty at all, but you want Kimmy to show it to you. So at that moment when Kimmy saw you for your works, the friendship began to get a bit fickle. And that's one thing that Kimmy was frustrated by. She was frustrated by the fact that they show certain actions or they show certain reactions, but they never show the actions that cause people to react in the way that they do. So she wishes that production would open up more and show that. But I think that they couldn't, because they probably were tailoring the storyline to be more so about what was going on with Melody and them versus what's truly going on with you and her. Because for majority of the show, it's been about Melody, Martell, Melody and whoever else she really interacts with, and then a little bit was about Tisha and your friendship. But now that Melody and Martell has now gotten the divorce, maybe we'll be able to see more of the dynamics between Kimmy and Tisha, since nobody really wants them to dive deeper into their marriage as they've dived deeper into Melody and Martell's marriage. But we'll just see, right? So let's go ahead and just move on. Martell decides to take himself to the Steve Harvey morning show to do the strawberry letter. So he goes on the morning show and he's asked a few questions. He goes on to admit about his marriage. He admits that, you know, they've been divorced for about a month or so now. He goes on to say that he failed in his marriage and that he wished that he would have communicated better to her what his needs were. Instead of talking about it, talking around it, but not being able to sit her down and fully having a good conversation, communicative conversation with her about the things that he wants and needs from her and within the marriage. Now, we also learned that Martell is definitely single. He also goes on to say that one of the reasons he cheated was because he was being greedy. He was being selfish. He ruined his family and he thinks about that, and that's what hurts him sometimes, knowing that he had a good marriage going, a good image going, a good family going, and he ruined that. Steve Harvey also asked him about the child, like how old is the child? He just kept saying he's a newborn. Okay, if the baby has been here for over 3 months, is it a newborn? Is it? Is it really? After a month, is it a newborn? After 2 weeks, is it really? How long do we need to go? He's like, yeah, everybody keeps talking about the range. Everybody keeps talking about the range of the date range of when the baby was born, but nobody knows. Well, why don't you validate that? Yeah, I feel like the baby was born at the end of December when your last child was born a year prior. I feel like they are a year apart, but you are still so embarrassed that you're trying to hold on to that very closely. You know, he also goes on to ask about whether or not he should date. And I can't remember the lady name that does the strawberry letter. She was like, honey, you're already doing that. You've been doing that. You were doing that in your marriage. So what do you mean? And this should be a slap in the face for Ariane, but I will say this. I felt this though, when he was talking, I said, I bet you all this time that he's talking, the side chick is sitting right there next to him. Okay, the new baby mama is right there next to him the whole time he's probably doing this interview. And next thing you know, he tells us that he's single. He's trying to see how he moves forward. Should he go on and date? And Steve Harvey is just like, you know, before you can even go on and date or do anything, you know, you need to extend an apology and understand that this backlash is going to follow you for some time. But outside of that, you know, you really need to you need to apologize to the mother of your children for your actions and things. And Martell apologized, but I did not find the sincerity in the apology. I was even surprised that they opened up the interview and me hearing him admit to a lot of the things that he's done wrong. You know, in the marriage, I was shocked about that. But even in the middle of the interview, he wanted to go down that road of saying something else about Mel or you know, so that the failure of the marriage wouldn't 100% be on him. He wanted to get into that, but he had to scale back because you could tell he got on the interview with a mindset of, oh, I'm not even going to bring up anything about her. You know, I'm going to just speak on what I did wrong. Now, what I did not really like at the very beginning of the interview, as he was talking, the lady that does the strawberry letter, before he can really get in good with the conversation, she was like, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to bash Mel. And he's like, no, I wasn't. I'm speaking about the things that I've done. And I agree with him on that. Like, you didn't even let him say anything negative for that. You know, for him, like, you didn't even give him the opportunity to do that. And we understand that it's his history. But for me, I'm like, let's just hear him out because it sounds like he's starting on a good foot. So for her to interject with that, I did kind of feel a way about that part. But overall, you know, it was a good little 35-minute interview. And I think that, like I said, the apology was not sincere, but we'll just see how things are going to go for Martell and Melody as we enter into the new season, season 3. Thank you, Carlos, for listening and not giving us episode 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and 31. Thank you so much for capping it off, even though we did not get a reunion, and we'll move forward into season 3. But what I do ask is, during season 3, things that happened in season 2, I would like to see those questions pop up for the reunion, and we would like to see a 3-part reunion. And do not BS us okay, on the footage. And Egypt, let people talk. Don't jump in so quick as you did with the bill collector. Also, yes, allow Egypt to get her questions out and let's answer them. Okay, so I'm looking forward to season 3 of Love and Marriage Huntsville. I'm looking forward to that reunion whenever it comes up. You guys let me know your thoughts about everything that I've talked about today on the quick chat. I'm Jamie, that's me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share my videos, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.